I like that Sergey was before me because he was talking about numbers. And yeah, hello. My name is Almudena Vivanco. I live in Spain and I'm a mathematician. I love numbers. I always talk about numbers and graphs. Not today, but usually well, yes, today, because I will try to show you why it's important measuring. And measuring is a big part of numbers. So yeah. I work for Lidl. That's a retailer in Europe, and now it's in the States. We have in the East Coast around 200 stores. So basically, I sell potatoes. But why I will be talking about AI? Because selling potatoes is really important, right? Because we have like a policy within the Schwarz Group that it's where Lidl stores belong to the group of Schwarz, and it's like being carbon neutral for in 2030. And I'm a huge fan of Terminator, right? So should I say thank you and please to the AI? I'm not really sure. Sometimes I just wonder myself if I should or not. But I'm really afraid of AI taking power in the world and exterminating all the humans. Well, so sometimes I use I just like Curtis Beaver's designer from Microsoft Copilot. He said that we should actually you should maintain the etiquette everywhere, right? It's like to your colleagues, to your partners, to your family, to your AI. I even have a nickname for my AIs and my LLMs. But it's something that concerns us. I really actually have to say that I'm really frightened what the future will be. If you can read the news, like Microsoft deals for taking the energy generated from 3 Mile Island, and maybe it rings a bell to you if you were born like in the 70s or in the 80s. 3 Mile Island was like, oh yeah, the biggest nuclear accident in the States. It was not Chernobyl, but well, kind of. It could have been Chernobyl, right? So it's really frightening that a private company like Microsoft takes over the energy from a nuclear plant that almost had an accident. So what is the future having that? What we will see in the future? Maybe not us, but for sure the next generations will see something, right? And one of the things is that measuring is important. We cannot do anything against AI. Actually, we cannot do, and we shouldn't be doing anything against AI. Maybe you know about the AI Act from the European community, from the government of Europe. We try to put it in a framework, to do something with it, but you cannot go against it. It's something really powerful. It's a really tool that should be in a daily basis in our work. It's not only a trendy word. It's something that we should be working with, right? But we should measure it. We should be conscious what are we spending our energy and our future on. So at macro level energy and environmental demands, the generative AI, you have to know that the intense power density that companies, not only Microsoft, but Microsoft, Amazon, Google, they are investing in nuclear plants all over the world to give power to the data centers, not only the data centers that provide us from the cloud provider from GCP, AWS, or Azure, but as well for powering the learning and the training of the AIs, of the LLMs. If I ask you how many LLMs do you think that there are in the world, last time I asked to the audience that there were there, they said like a couple of thousands. I can tell you that there's a couple of millions LLMs, right? So just give it a chance. So straining the grid, it's everything is about power, basically. It's about energy. It's about amount of electricity, amount of CO2. The emissions that we are putting a lot of pressure in electric grid. The data growth of the data centers, of course, the fossil fuel reliance with the war in Iran, with the problems in Ukraine, with those wars going on all over the world, with Venezuela problem. We have fossil fuel reliance that the demand will not be covered with that. And of course, the training costs of the LLMs. So you can check. We have like I have like the biography. We have the bibliography below with all the links that you can use to see what is, for example, the climate footprint, the usage of the AI energy in general. Like for GPT, that's and they are published. But what can we do? That's the important thing, right? We know that we will be using LLMs, we will be using AI in the future, generative AI, we will be using that. But we can do something in our homes, in our environments, in our companies. Of course, we will be keeping like the querying and prompting. And of course, one person, like a query per person, a prompt is not that much, but just consider that we are like thousands, millions of people doing the same queries, doing the same prompting. So even though that training consumes like 5 times more than a simple web search, we have to consider that, right? So the contribution to personal footprint is like you are not like the guy, the chief from the FIFA that goes with a jet flight everywhere in the US and Mexico and Canada for the FIFA World Championships. But we will be adding some personal footprint in our daily basis if we are using, for example, that that button in Visual Studio Code that I use to give you a message of the commit, to the commit message. How many times have I commit something to my repository saying ASD, it's a fix, something. And now we have this button, magical button that creates a change log with all the comments and all the messages. Do we need it actually? Do we really need it? When like a year ago, we were just committing to the repos with ASD. I'm not really sure. So it's like, as I said, it's behavioral changes in our daily basis. What can we use, and be conscious of what we are using and what is the impact of the carbon footprint. That's the point. That is, what on earth can we do? I'm not going to talk about minimizing the impact of AI because we are not able to do it. But we can do something to diminish the impact of AI, right? In our case, Lidl, what we did, is to hire Terminator, right? So in order to avoid being exterminated by Skynet, we hired Arnold Schwarzenegger. Well, that's a joke, internal joke, and that's actually how this talk started internally, that we were hiring Terminator within the Schwarz group, but we can do something, right? So one of the most important things that we need to know about carbon footprint is that we need like a circular economy, right? So as I said, I work for Lidl. Lidl is part of the Schwarz group. And what we have, we produce. We have the retailers. We are the Stiftung that is producing stuff in order to sell in the retailers in the stores. But we recover and recycle. We have our own recycling plants and a recycling company within the group. And of course, we sell ecological bio stuff, ecological potatoes, everything that is closer to the store. Not only because it's healthier or because you can believe it's better, but because it's as well it's closer to the store, so you just decrease the impact of the transportation of those potatoes, of those tomatoes. You are just decreasing the impact of the fuel that you are using. So it's a circular system, right? So we are like trying to cover all the spectrum of how our stores, our users, our digital parts have impact in all the process. So within Schwarz Group, I'm in digits, of course, Schwarz digits. That is the part of digitalization. So I'm not selling the stores the potatoes. I help them to sell the potatoes. I'm not part of the packaging recyclable, but I'm part of the team that measures what is the minimum size of the package that you can send, right? So the less plastic that we are using, it has a really big impact in the carbon footprint that we have. So this is our numbers compared to 2017. And as I said, it's a cultural impact. So all the group, all the companies within the group are focusing on 2050 to reduce the emissions, to go carbon neutral, right? So it's not only the stores, it's not only the manufacturing companies, it's not only the tailwind that it's a freight company, it's not only the whatever that you can think within the company, but every single company within the group are committed to a net zero commitment. And we have to take into account the carbon footprint of the AI that we are developing right now. So the green software. So because I'm part of Digits, of the digital part of Schwarz, we have to consider what are the projects that we need to focus on. How we are engineering a sustainable digital future. That's a little thing that I can do as an engineer, as a mathematician. I can measure stuff and provide those numbers so we can have and measure the impact in the future, the impact in the carbon footprint. There are like 3 levels of carbon reduction. So one of the things is which is the most performance language that we can use. And you can see that Python, the one that almost everyone in AI and in machine learning are using, is the one with the highest impact in performance and is the highest with the impact in carbon footprint. You can do the carbon aware load shifting. So for right now, we are moving from Azure to Google Cloud, for example, and to Stackit, that it's a sovereignty cloud from Schwarz in Europe. And we are trying to go to those regions that are actually marked as carbon footprint efficiency, right? GCP has like a little green left that shows you that data center has less impact in carbon footprint than another one. So we try to be energy efficiency and carbon reduction. That's why performance is so important, because if you reduce, this comes actually from reducing the impact in CPU usage, in memory usage, everything that has a resource usage in your data centers, in your solution, it impacts directly on your carbon footprint. So if you reduce that cost, you're not only making happy your CFO, you're making happy as well your environment, maybe your future. So it's not only about decreasing the impact of AI in the energy, but as well to mitigating the impact in general. So if you are aware of the consumption, energy consumption that AI generates, you can just like provide some way of reducing your costs in a data center or reducing your costs to your users, like performance, the UX experience of your users should be better. Actually, if you reduce the cost, the number of requests, the size of the requests and of the images. So you are not only making your users happier, but you are making your future happier and a bit greener. As well, the maturity of hardware, like changing every 2 years hardware, you need to extending lifespan. And the green age challenge, it's not only that why do I need to generate a 5-second high quality video when I'm only seeing it in my phone, right? In my mobile phone, my cellular. Why I'm generating a 4K image if I'm only seeing it in my cellular? Maybe you are not needing that amount of depth in your image, right? But what are we doing actually? You are an engineer, you want to do something. That's what difference, the biggest difference from an engineer and from a mathematician. That engineers do stuff, right? So what are we doing? As part of Digits, we have like for example, we are providing a mobility that it's a project that provides e-chargers for your electrical cars. And you can tell me that maybe the lithium, the lithium batteries and stuff, but with the problem that we have with the fossil fuel, maybe in mobility, our e-chargers and electrical cars are helping helping the green they are helping to diminish this carbon print, right? Another thing that we do is deposits. Deposits is like that you can return your flashes, your bottles in the stores. So you are recycling it directly, and you get a discount in your ticket. So you make your users are happier because they are recycling, and actually you are recycling in order to decrease this carbon footprint. So it's a win-win. It's part of the best projects that we have, actually. So we are recycling the stuff that we are selling. As well, something that we are really proud of, and all these projects are being done in Barcelona, in the International Hub in Barcelona. So one of the easiest ones for us, that it was like, why no one thought of this before? It's like no one needs now the ticket in paper. Why should you? You have your Lidl Plus app. You're identifying the till. You can have your e-ticket. You can have your ticket in HTML instantly in your phone, and you can go with it. Why should you have a paper? And that saved a lot of paper, and paper means that you are saving a lot of water usage. So it's incredible the impact that changing this little stuff, like the amount of people that were printing the ticket and just throwing it in the first dustbin that you had, and now you can have it in your app. You have it there forever, well, forever for a year or something, and you are saving trees. The end. You're saving paper, you're saving water, you're saving trees. But we can do more, right? I talk about Azure. This is emissions that you have to measure to improve something. You need to measure. You need to measure it, right? So that's the importance of numbers, of statistics, of mathematics in general. Not because I'm a mathematician, but numbers are really important. And measuring is really important. And we should do a talk about statistics and numbers, I think, Sergey. But it's really measuring is really really important for us. And just to give you a measure of, if I tell you we have saved like 2,600 kilos of CO2, it's like, okay, but how much is that? What does that mean? So that's the electricity for 1 year for 29 homes. That's more than 17 million smartphones charged. That's like a lot of gallons of gasoline saved. So you have a direct impact, and you're measuring it in numbers that you can understand, right? So that's really important, to measure the impact that you have in your data center and trying to reduce it. And another thing that you can do is like in your Kubernetes. In our case, we are working everything, all the products, all the systems are basically in Kubernetes, and we can measure that. We have, for example, Dynatrace helping us to measure the impact and the carbon footprint of our clusters, and how we are like trying to the workloads that how much energy in total they are consuming, right? So at least we see the trend. We see it's numbers and graphs. In this case, it's graphs. Like, okay, this is the threshold. We cannot go through that over that threshold, because we know that then we will have to mitigate somehow, or with another project. So we try to be there all the time. And that is not only for carbon print. I'm not delusional. I know that this is as well it has as well impact in money, in the bills that you're sending to the data center. So everyone will be happy if you just improve your performance in general. But we can do more. I'm sure that we can do more. And one of the things that I remember from like 10 years ago, when the fashion word, it was cloud, and everyone wanted to go to the cloud. And it was like, but what will be the impact in performance engineering going to the cloud, to have a slide instead of going with a cable and wait for 6 months to have more memory for your or more CPU for your Oracle server, because you have to wait 6 months for it. And now you have a slide. That slider will just solve all the performance issues in the world. That was the question 10 years ago. And now we see that that didn't happen. It was actually worse, because the people were like doing this slide, and then Mr. Bezos, or well, Amazon Web Services bill and Azure bill and Google bill was stratospherical, right? So one of the things that we do actually, and that we encourage our teams, is to allocate resources accordingly to what the performance tests output and the results of the performance tests say. So they allocate all the resources depending on those performance tests. And those performance tests are like testing the stationary regime. It's not like testing all the time Black Friday, because you are not in need of Black Friday every Monday morning in August when no one is going to the store, right? So you allocate perfectly, and in a scalability way, you are allocating your resources. And that way you are saving trees, saving money, okay? But as I said, performance engineering and sustainability. 10 years ago, it was going to the cloud. You have the sliders. There won't be any problem in scaling. There won't be any performance issues. There was, because we changed a bit to the financial part of, okay, help me out, because our bills are exponentially increasing. So now we have a budget, and we know that we have to adjust to that budget, not only resource budget, but as well monetary budget. And we have to embrace green coding. And green coding is optimize your code. We are engineers. We are mathematicians. We like to optimize, right? It's not the I can do this with the bubble algorithm, but you can do with something else, with some new algorithms that we have, and you can do benchmarks of those algorithms that you are going to use, of your code that you are going to use. You can optimize your resource usage. You have to focus on optimizing. I always say to my colleagues, to my developers, to my teams, to my product squad teams, that it's not only the resources in your data centers, in your cloud providers, it's as well depending on the device of your user. And I'm poor. I'm a poor Spanish, and I have a little Nokia 5.4, and I go to Lidl and I want to see my vouchers and my tickets. So I need to optimize my code, not only for the latest iPhone 17 or whatever it is now, but for the poor people that are using like my Nokia or my, and Nokia is amazing. It's I'm not gonna say because I love it, but OnePlus, Nokia, Xiaomi, Huawei, you know, this Android ecosystem that is, I call it the Android hell, because there are so many devices, and that you have to work not only for the latest versions, for the best versions, but for those that are using mobiles to call their families and not to search the internet, right? So optimize the source usage, not only data center, as well for your device, and limit the work in progress. We're in the middle of a migration, right? So we are in the middle of having two infrastructures, to having two data centers, two clusters everywhere, like Google, like Azure, like Stackit. We have agnostics. Being agnostic, that is a new trend. Being agnostics for your cloud providers, so you avoid the vendor lock. But you are like not only overloading your engineers with tasks because they are migrating, they are doing the as well. They are making better the product, creating new features, but they need to reduce the impact that they have in the daily basis as well. They reduce the efficiency because they are context switching all the time for the tasks. As I said, it's really important to do benchmarks of your algorithms, of your data structures. I have seen a lot of MongoDBs with transactions that you can do them. Yeah, right. But it's not the most efficient way of using MongoDB, right? So just try to use the most efficient way of the product that you are using. So choosing the the right data structure. I'm going to say like this, I've seen a rise in MongoDB of within a document, unbound a rise in your MongoDB document. So it's like, oh, my friend, you're doing something really wrong. Optimizing loops, and you can ask yourself, so Almu, doing performance testing is green? Is a green efficient way? Yes. Well, of course, I'm a performance. We are here. We are performance engineers. We are going to say yes. We are sustainable. Why? Because you are going to avoid problems in the future. You are going to avoid costs in the future. You are going to avoid bottlenecks, and you are going to avoid the user being unhappy. Okay, so actually, I think that the goal for every performance engineer is that our users are happy. It's the happiness of our users. So you can do these benchmarks locally. So just do a benchmark, just compare stuff and choose the best one. Another thing is that I said like 10 years ago, going cloud, the other word was microservices. Like really, actually, I know that I'm going to be the focus of hate. Some people will hate me really, really a lot, because I'm going to tell you that you don't need Kubernetes everywhere. And this is a slogan. You don't need Kubernetes everywhere. You don't need microservices everywhere. You are having an experience of for 1,000 users, 100,000 users, go a monolith. It's easier. It's efficient. It's really easy. And you don't need to go all the way to Kubernetes. If you're trying out something new, if you're doing an MVP, don't go to, I'm going to have all this architecture in microservices without something. No. Complexity is usually the opposite of efficiency. So yeah, you don't need monoliths. And we have something really, really powerful now, that it's like containers as a service, right? You have the serverless computing, serverless functions. You can help the world by using that, because you can have like service that just runs when it's needed, and you can avoid huge. You can have that like the on a spot. I think it's the on a spot compute engines, like the virtual machines that are on a spot. Just when you're using it, you pay for it. You pay more, but you're saving trees that way, and saving watts and saving everything. So try to use serverless computing as much as you can if you want to go microservices, but actually just think yourself twice. Just think with your teddy bear and tell them you don't need microservices. You don't need Kubernetes everywhere. As well as usual, minimizing resource consumption. That makes you happy, makes me happy. I get paid my mortgage. The user will be happier. Everyone will be happy. So lazy loading, if you can't, efficient API calls, batching requests, cache, conditional requests, of course, data compression. As I said before, you don't need a 4 meg image everywhere if you are using your Nokia 5.4, that I miss it a lot, or your OnePlus. You don't need a 4K image everywhere, right? So you can have a data compression and to be like responsive. That it was a really nice fashion a couple of years ago. And you can't measure. You have to measure all the time. Remember, performance testing is efficient. It's sustainable. It allows you to see what will happen in production, what will happen in the future. And for example, Sergey was naming web page test. We can use web page test in order to measure the carbon control, to the carbon footprint of our sites. And of course, you can measure the experience and the cost that will happen for your users. It's an experiment, but it's great. And yeah, that's it. Just remember things that you need to do in order to save trees. It's like try to buy stuff from the near, like kilometer zero, that is we call it. It's from your near neighborhood center, whatever you want. Try to avoid or be conscious of the usage of what you do in your AI, how you prompt, what you are using, if you were using it before and it's helping you, or it's just like a fashion, something like I'm gonna do my avatar will be a Ghibli image. Do you really need that? Do you? It's fashion now. Just be conscious that you are using it and you are killing trees that way. Allocate resources accordingly to your performance tests, to the usage that you have in real life. That will make your CFO will be happy, your CTO will be happy, and your users will be even happier. And I think that's all, and that's it. I'm not sure. And let's talk about numbers. Always numbers and graphs. They are the best stuff in the world. So thank you for listening to me, my rant.